Hey, good evening, everybody. We're here with Abyss World. We're gonna have the first look at their game with some amazing PvP battles that we'll be showcasing. And we've got Jeremy here from Abyss World, so give him a warm welcome. Hello, Jeremy. How you doing?
Hello, everyone. Hi, my name is Jeremy. I'm the CMO of Metagame Studios, also the studio behind Abyss World. So thank you, PokerStar, for hosting me today. And I can't be more excited to speak with you guys and let you guys know more about our game.
Well, that's awesome to hear, and thank you for having us and partnering up with us to do this showcase. Before we get started, can you please explain a little bit on what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be seeing, and what we'll be having today?
So we're gonna be doing a stream, or actually a couple of streams over the next 4 days. And first of all, we're gonna have our initial trailer to be played. So this trailer was actually released back in December, and this is the first official trailer that was launched on IGN. And not to brag too much, but we're also the first game to be ever launched on IGN on a Web3 status. So I think definitely they do recognize our game as a quality game status, and I think can't be more excited to show you what we have. And first and foremost, we're gonna have our trailer to be played, and then we're gonna go into our next section, which is our PvP, so also known as PvP to a degree, because it is run by AI. And we're gonna have two sets of sample battles to showcase to everyone what the game is actually like in a PvP setting. And we're going to talk over that a little bit, show you guys what's going on behind the scenes that we did and some of the characters that we're going to also be talking over and the lore, the world setting, etc. So, yeah, it's going to be, probably around 30 minutes in total for today's stream, but, happy to talk to you guys more.
That's awesome. Before we jump into this trailer, I've already had a sneak peek, so I kind of know what's coming. But can you tell me a little bit of what we are going to be seeing in this trailer? Like, are we going to be seeing the world?
And it's going to include a few of the sneak peeks to our bosses and also just a tiny bit of the gameplay in the PvE world. So pretty much those three things are covered. And yeah, I think definitely, everyone, please take a look.
Awesome. We'll jump right into it. I'll get this going here. Wow, that looks amazing, Jeremy.
The graphics look absolutely stunning on it.
Thank you, man. I think this is just a start for us, and all of our game are published on Unreal Engine 5, and we spent probably around 2 years trying to perfect the battle system of the game, as well as kind of the world setting and the lore.
Yeah, one thing that I was talking about earlier with a lot of the people that I was playing a Dark Souls kind of game, like a Souls-like game, and I was like, one thing that Souls-like games suffer from is just copying too much from Dark Souls. And then I was mentioning you guys, and I said the one good thing about Abyss World that I've seen from like the trailer and stuff is that you guys have kind of created your own world. It's not like just a copy from Dark Souls or something. There's different kind of character types that I've never seen before, so it's a unique experience, rather than just a Souls, like just a Dark Souls game. It's an actual its own standalone kind of feature.
Yeah, thank you. So we did draw a lot of inspirations from Dark Souls. So, props to that. I think what they have made so far, and and what we are doing based on a time of a forgotten ancient era. And there was a catastrophic conflict that has occurred. And the ultimate battle between the Lords of Time and the Stellar Demons has, always been kind of in between over this period of time. And both sides are fighting to death. So in the end, the Lord of Time has emerged victorious, and the Stellar Demon were banished back into the void. However, the Lord of Time were heavily damaged and then went into hibernation. As a result, the first universe was completely shattered and became fragmented. So upon then, the Stellar Demon have then returned, and then there are broken bodies of the Lords of Time have yet fully to recover. So with only a few survivors struggling to survive, so the suffering and the torment and all the demons then have awakened the consciousness of some of the powerful lords who are determined to rebuild the Fortress of Time. So this then activated, some of the lost souls of warriors. We can also call them heroic souls from the catastrophic time. So there will be various channels available to create this kind of, what we're going to do here is the world content here, and it will be permanently saved in this world. So all the decisions, all of, what's going, some of the small interaction happening for each player, and all of the different kind of battle that are happening will impact the world permanently. So the frontline players who participate in wars, will determine the survival of the many worlds that, and will also leave a name of that will has permanently happened for these battles. And some of the many outstanding players will also be recognized in these battles. And if you also participated in the voting and deciding the outcomes of the future of the many events, your name will also be saved in these votings. And furthermore, if you are an explorer, we have a map that's known as the Stellar Coordinates tool that you could use to explore the edge of the universe. You will also receive a permanent, I would say, recognition based on the places and the planets that you have visited.
That's amazing. So basically what you're doing is you're building a world and a general idea of a story, and then the entire community and the player base is basically directing this story on where it's going to go and develop next. Is that
that's
my
right.
correct understanding? Oh, that's amazing.
That's right. So basically, there will be a battle against two worlds. So I would say predominantly, all the players are part of the heroic souls, which the AI itself is part of the darks, the dark world. And, the dark world will continue to infiltrate. And then it's the players that are together forming as a team that needs to, conquer the map slowly and fight off these demons. So it's kind of like everything's happening real time, and all of these small battles will accumulate to a larger grand world setting that is being created here.
That's amazing. That sounds really cool.
Thank you.
And for today, I know we are touching a little bit more on the PvE side of things in what we're just discussing. But far as I know, we're doing PvP battles, right? Generated by the AI.
Yes. So today we're going to be showcasing PvP, or in our terms, we call it BVB, which means boss versus boss. So the BVB gameplay will take place in the time and space assembly, and this is a place for online gameplay, and there will be a mail or exchange center, a player plaza, etc. that's available, and players could participate in the arena when they're at this place. So the BVB gameplay is really where players could participate in a Coliseum battle, and there will be a war between two teams or two individuals. And what will happen is you'll see on screen there will be two teams or individual battling against each other through AI, and different AIs will react to the opponent's moveset based on all from the characters could be in different places. So definitely you'll see them appear in one way or the other.
And I was going to say, right now, there's someone in the chat, his name's Vasa King. He's just asking, will the items in the game or the characters in the game be the NFTs that are in the game, like the digital collectibles, or is it a different method that you guys have going for it?
So yeah, the characters in the game will definitely be PvP. I'm sorry, an NFT. Sorry for my language.
No worries.
It'll definitely be an NFT, and over time, they will accumulate different experiences as well as different skill tree you could develop, and be able to develop these characters with different equipment and use them in your PvP battles.
That's cool.
Okay, well, that's really cool. I was gonna say I don't think I've seen that done before, and that's like really, really cool. So you're saying like the characters itself would then, like, would the metadata and stuff like that be changing and being added on to like stuff with them, and the rarity would be changing throughout you playing the game and stuff like that as well,
yes.
Right?
So definitely, there will be certain skills that you'll be unlocking maybe later in the game rather than beginning of the game, and these skills, once unlocked, will allow you to use them in PvE battles or in PvP battles.
And then if I wanted to, like, let's just say I get to like I get further than a couple of my friends, like I'm really far into the game, I've gotten all these skills and things like that, and now I want, like, I'm finished with the game. Now I want to like help them get into a better area or something like that. Am I allowed to give them like my character NFT so that they can then play with the same skills and things like that?
Oh, so I would say there's gonna be different requirement for your character. For example, this particular equipment might require some particular level requirement or status requirement that before you wear them, right? So we don't really allow you to transfer NFT straight off like that, because they definitely want the player to actually first enjoy the world a little bit, but at the same time there will be certain equipment that that you could give to your peers and increase their chances, such as their potions or other kind of buffs that allow them to get an advantage earlier in the game.
I was gonna say I actually like that more than being able to give it, because it defeats the purpose of them trying to like play the game themselves and learning a little bit more about it. So I'm glad that you are doing it that way. And then the last question, and then I'll give it back to Hub, is: are you guys basically, like, are you wanting to do this mainly on the Sui chain, or is it going to be multi-chain in the future, or what's the idea there?
So Sui is one of our idea partners. It's we are a launch partner of Sui, and at this moment, our game will be just launched on Sui. But in the future, we might go multi-chain one way or the other. That's still something on the back of our mind, yet to be discussed.
Cool, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that insight there, Jeremy, and for answering these questions.
No problem.
Before going too much into the game, we're gonna watch a couple of boss versus boss fights. Could you maybe explain a little bit of the characters that we're going to be seeing in these fights?
Oh, I think Hub's mic just rugged.
Oh, did my mic just rig?
There you go. You're back now.
I'm sorry about that. Technology. Jeremy, I was asking, like, we're going to be watching some boss versus boss battles here. Can you tell us a little bit of the characters that we are going to be seeing in these fights? Like, what are their abilities? What are the differences between them?
Sure. So first of all, we got 4 characters that you'll be able to see for the next 4 days battling, against each other. And first of all, we got the Annihilation Apostles, which they are part of a religious organization that spans over multiple planets. And there is a mysterious belief known as the Doctrine of Annihilation. So that belief is that everything in the universe will eventually get annihilated and return to nothingness. So within this organization, there's a faction known as the Annihilation Apostles, who are the most loyal followers of the organization and deeply influenced by this kind of teaching. And they believe that annihilation is a form of liberation and redemption. And in order to obtain liberation, they're willing to offer blood sacrifices in order to pray to the doctrine of annihilation. So the Annihilation Apostles also have powerful abilities, and their bodies and souls can transform to adapt to their belief of nothingness, and can manipulate dark energy and possess the power to destroy everything. However, the souls have lost emotions and compassion, leaving only their obsession and faith in nothingness.
Oh, that's really
So, yeah, that's something that our producer Max, have spent creating these kind of backstories and part of the world setting, over the last 2 years, just to create a grand universe that players could read into and get to know his character, and just create more kind of lively characters for players to really create a connection to, and that will grow over time by the character development. I think that's what we want to see.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And what is he wearing? Because I see like a big shield, I think it is, on the back.
Yeah, so there's a big shield in the back, and uses a blade that most of the time.
Cool.
So he's probably mostly using a bit of magic and to a degree some kind of close combat.
It looks awesome. And I see 3 other characters. Can you tell us a little bit about those as well?
So next up, we got the Iron Doctrine Executor. So he belongs on the edge of the first galaxy, and there's a war organization known as the Steel Doctrine, and the belief that the essence of life is indestructible and holds eternal power. So under the Steel Doctrine, there's a special force unit known as the Executor, who represents the doctrine and has a mind and body that is unbreakable as steel. So in a special mission in the beginning of the game, players will find him on a frozen planet. So in this mission, player can find different goals and various tasks to do. And the ultimate mission there is that they will have to carry out a secret war plan to defeat the enemy. But eventually, it turned out that the plan has failed, and his hometown and the enemies has disappeared into, an endless ice age. So he was accidentally frozen there, but he did not die and became the last remaining remnant of the Steel Doctrine organization. Yeah.
That's cool. Very cool. And are we gonna bosses here?
So I think as for today, we have planned for the battle of the our Iron Doctrine Executor as well as the Locust Swarm. So I think that will be coming up as of today. So maybe I'll talk into all the characters, and then eventually we could play first bit there. So next up, we got the Falling Leaf Warrior. Actually, one of my favorite characters. Where they belong is in the distant planet of the Cetralex. there is a group of mysterious warriors and sage who call themselves the Fallen Leaf People, and they are a secret society that have stayed away from other planets for a really long time, and they are agile, wise, and skilled in swordsmanship, and they are really low key and never really reveal their true identity in front of others. So just like a withered leaf falling from the tree, hence called the fires, the leaves that you'll see in the autumn, and they kind of blend into like the forest battles during in special missions, etc.
That's awesome. Looks cool.
So in the special mission, in the beginning of the game, players will obtain a signal source in one of the major plot lines, and then they will discover extremely powerful demonic force awakening, and at the distant planet, this group of martial artists will be chasing the mysterious source of fire, which is said to be a source of unimaginable power. However, players will eventually discover in that mission that the so-called source of fire is actually a demonic star that has been left many years ago. And when it awakens, it will devour the whole entire planet and become a demon on the planetary level. So in the end, player that will be implanted with a virus, and eventually it could awaken and causing it to be destroyed. So afterwards, one of the warriors will help the player in the mission to choose to join their group in pursuit to find the truth. So that's kind of the backstory of this particular character, and you'll also be able to see them in the game in the beginning.
That's cool. Sounds really cool. I like all these different backstories and all these different belief systems, and I think Max is doing an awesome job with that. And I can't wait to see this come into fruition. Like, really cool.
And lastly, we got the Lonely Locusts, also known as a locust swarm, a swarm of locusts. They are from another distant star, from the dispersal star, and there lives a strange life known as the solitary locust, also known as the swarm of locusts. And they believe in destruction and domination with the goal of conquering the entire planet. And these alien monsters have powerful strength and fierce in nature, as well as intelligence and strategy. So these elite individuals of the solitary locust possess even more overwhelming strength and speed, as well as high intelligence that could enable them to make quick decisions in response to crisis and battles. So this is also the reason why they are able to survive alone in fierce battles. And in addition, there is a survival ability for these solitary locusts. They usually have some kind of a unique skill and equipment, and to be able to, turn around things quickly in this situation. So although they're not the most powerful race, but their threat should definitely not be underestimated. And you'll also see this monster probably in the early stages of the game, and they are an enemy, and players will encounter many species that has been left on this particular planet years ago, and they have a similar appearance to demons and are good sensing the power of different elements. So this particular demon, we draw some inspiration from Prometheus. I don't know if you watched the movie before. It's the origin to Alien.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that movie. I think it's very well done. So I'm glad to see those elements could return as well. And I think this is definitely a formidable enemy. Like, just looking at him or her or it, like it strikes fear. If you come across that, like that'd be bad news. So it's well done.
Definitely. So then I guess we should get started with today's battle. So although we're not doing anything in terms of our event as of today, but we would just like to showcase everyone who's on stream right now what the PvP will look like. So let's get started.
Yeah, and quickly before we head in, you will be able to vote for your favorite characters over the next coming days. This is the first showcase of one of these PvP battles, right?
So we here see the Iron Doctrine Executor wields a large blade and does a lot of thrust attacks. And he's not as agile in his moves when compared to the Locust Swarm, but definitely, his damage and, some of these heavy attacks will, not make it easy for the opponent.
For sure. For some reason, I do think I've lost sound on my end.
Yeah, I've lost sound for the game as well.
There it is.
It's back now.
Oh, it's coming back. Perfect.
So we really see the quickness here of the Locust Swarm moving around. But
Yeah,
those
and then they also possess some kind of elemental damage. I think in a few... Oh, look at that. That whirlwind attack. Definitely left some real damage there. See
Ooh,
right there,
look
you
at
see the
that
elemental
lightning.
damage, that magic. Yeah.
definitely not a pushover here. Oh,
Oh.
look at
Damn.
that. And look starts off on. What is the longest battle between bosses that you've seen happen?
So we test this. Some of the longest battles are actually very long. Especially, we have to tinker around with some of the different health bars for some of these boss characters, because even though we have set them originally in the PvE mode to be this particular health, I would say number, but in the end, if you're on a PvP setting, it's hard to just kind of get a kill from these bosses due to their massive health bar. So we do have to kind of work around with that. So a situation like that would probably take over 3 minutes, and then the time